Wall Street put endless amounts of money into politics. You all know who the Koch brothers are? Yeah. Good. Now, it's a good college you got here. Okay. Koch brothers, and this is important to understand, Koch brothers are the second wealthiest family in America, and they're very, very upset because the Walton family is richer than they are. So they are working really hard to catch up. And this is what they believe. It's not my opinion, this is what they believe. They don't want to cut Social Security. They don't want to cut Medicare. They don't want to cut Medicaid. They don't want to cut the EPA. They don't want to cut federal aid to education. That's not what they want. They want to eliminate all of those programs. And they and a few of their billionaire friends will be spending hundreds, actually close to $1 billion on this campaign, okay?
The American fascist would prefer not to use violence. His method is to poison the channels of public information. Here, Wallace was using the classic definition of the word fascist, the definition Benito Mussolini had in mind when he claimed to have invented the word. As the 1983 American Heritage Dictionary noted, fascism is a system of government that exercises a dictatorship of the extreme right, typically through the merging of state and business leadership together with belligerent nationalism. Mussolini was quite straightforward about all this. In a 1923 pamphlet titled The Doctrine of Fascism, he wrote, "If classical liberalism spells individualism, fascism spells government. But not a government of, by, and for we the people. Instead, Mussolini's fascist state would be a government of, by, and for the most powerful corporate interests in the nation." In 1938, Mussolini made this vision of fascism a reality when he dissolved the Italian parliament and replaced it with the Chamber of the Fascist Corporations. Indictment of the fascist threat, they claimed to be super patriots, but they would destroy every liberty guaranteed by the Constitution. They demand free enterprise, but they are the spokesman for monopoly and vested interest. Their final objective, toward which all their deceit is directed, is to capture political power so that, using the power of the state and the power of the market simultaneously, they may keep the common man in eternal subjection. Almost every major industry in the United States is now controlled by a handful of giant multinational corporations. When it comes to household products, for example, pretty much everything you can buy at your local grocery store is made by a subsidiary of Mondelez, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, or Nestle. Either that or a subsidiary of Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, Mars, or Unilever. The same is true of the media. 6 corporations, GE, News Corp, Disney, Viacom, Time Warner, and CBS, now control 90% of the electronic media. That's a huge drop from 1983 when 50 companies controlled that much of the media. Of course, American fascists who would want former CEOs as president and write legislation with corporate interests in mind, instead, as Hitler did with the trade union leaders and the Jews, they point to a them to pin with blame and distract people from the harms of their economic policies.